Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome all the students of engineering, especially mechanical engineering, and most especially the students of Khwaja Farid University of Engineering and Information Technology, Rahim Dar Khan. Dear students, we were discussing the kinetics, and of course kinetic by using Newton's second law of motion in the rectilinear motion, in the curvilinear motion, in anti-r theta coordinates, and of course in Cartesian coordinates. Today we start another way to solve the problems, that is called energy method. In mechanical engineering or in mechanical systems, we are interested mostly in case of kinetics, the two kinds of energies, and one kind of energy is mechanical energy and the other kind of energy is the potential energy, and these two energies are being converted with each other with the involvement of the work done. These basic concepts of physics that we have studied already in your previous classes, today we implement this knowledge in the kinetics, that is by applying the energy method. So we talk of first of all what is work and energy. As you know that we are moving from Newton's second law of motion to work and energy. You know that when force is applied on a body and the body will cover some distance, then of course in the direction of force, then we say the force has done some work on the system. Classically, you know that this is Newton's second law of motion. If I say of course summation of F into dr, that is the work done, force multiplied by displacement, and if we integrate from point 1 to point 2, so if I put F is equal to ma into dr, right, and this can be written as well this, like if I say F into ds, Ft, that is a tangential force from S1 to S2, or it is mv dv, right? So because ADR is equal to V, ADS is equal to VdV. If you remember, dr is same as ADS. So it is mv dv. From now the variable is velocity, so it is v1 to v2. So if I took the this S1 to S2 FDS, this is work done. If you integrate, this becomes half m delta v square. So the work done from 1 to 2 is equal to the change in kinetic energy. So the work done, the change in the work done, bringing the body from one point to another point, is equal to change in kinetic energy at point 1 and point 2. Let's move to the definition of work done. For example, there is a particle, right? We apply the force, right? And body cover distance ds in this direction. Of course, that component of force will be multiplied with the distance which is along the displacement. So therefore, we write whenever we are taking the component of the any component of the force or any component of vector along that anyone, we take the dot product. So du is equal to F dot dr, or du is equal to this component of the force F cos of theta times ds, or you can write simply du Ft ds. Ft means there's a tangential component, or this is you see the tangential component. There is no work done in the normal component, so this is the work done in the tangential component as a component of the force along the displacement. So that is the work done is F dot dr or ds, or it is F dr cos of theta. So let's talk of the units of work. Units of work is du is equal to F dot dr. So the unit of force in the SI system is Newton, and displacement is meter, so it becomes Newton meter, which is also called joule after the name of a scientist, Joule. And if I talk of in the American system or the British systems, then force is in pound and displacement is in, of course, feet, so it is called foot pound, right? So this is the units system. So how the work done is to be calculated. Let's talk more on this. Let's see, we have a force, tangential force, the force along the component and the displacement curve, this curve. I need to find what is the work done. So area under this curve, force and displacement curve, will give you the work done. If I take a small element du, this will be is equal to, of course, ft times ds. So u is equal to 1 to 2 f dr. If the force is, of course, is a vector quantity, so it is fx into dx, fy dy, and fz dz. If I'm talking of the force having in a space all the three components, right? So it's simple s1 to s2, s1 to s2 ft ds. Or d if you are taking in one dimension, so total displacement fdr or fds cos of alpha, or you can say it is du ft ds. Ft means the tangential force. So this area under the curve, that will give you the work done, which is simply is a force time displacement or change in kinetic energy we have already derived. The next thing is, if the force is constant, so what is the work done if there is a constant force? Dear students, we have discussed the work done is the dot product of force and displacement. So therefore, it's a dot product. You know that the two vector quantity multiplies and the resultant is again a scalar quantity. Then, of course, this is called a scalar product, or you can say it is a dot product, right? And it is also called inner product. So it is u 1 to 2 and f dot dr, u is the work done. So if we have two components of the force, p cos of alpha in this case, p cos of alpha and p sin of alpha, times the displacement is in dxi in terms of vector. So when I take dot products, I dot I is equal to 1 because the angle between them is 0 degree. But when I take the I dot j, the angle is 90 degree, and of course this will become 0. So it's p cos of alpha of dx. When I integrate p cos of alpha times dx, dx is x, is x2 minus x1, or x2 minus x1, in this case is L, so it is simple force multiplied by displacement and the angle between them. If the angle is 0, the work done is maximum. When angle is 90, the work done is 0, because cos of 90 is 0. Let's see the example of work done by the spring force. You know that according to Hooke's law, that the force is directly proportional to the displacements. So it is the straight line. It is directly proportional, means passing to the origin, right? There is no y-intercept. F is equal to kx. So area under this curve between these 2 points it gives the work done or energy stored in a spring. So I say the linear spring is linear. Stiffness is k, right? So Newton per meter. Force to stretch the compress is proportional to x, and the spring force is of course minus kxi. If I am applying the force away, then the restoring force in the positive direction, that is minus kxi if I am taking the x direction. So these students, of course, again f dot dx is minus kxi dxi. So it becomes minus kx, right? Into I dot I is equal to, of course, 1 x dx, kx, k is x square by 2. So it becomes half k x1 square minus k x2 square, right? Because it's a minus, so they become plus x1 square minus x2 square. Similarly, the work done by the weight, by the gravitational force, the body is falling downward, of course. Here, the change in height is basically doing the work done. So it's simple f dot dr. So weight is in the downward direction, which is mgj, of course, mgj, and displacement is dxi plus dyj. In this case, of course, there is no displacement in the x direction. The body is moving vertically downward. So we will take only the j component. So j dot j, of course, becomes 1. That is minus mg y2 minus y1, or mg y1 minus y2. So we discussed the work done by the gravitational force, work done by the spring, and the work done by the simple constant force. So this is the way how we can tackle. So let's talk of the principle of work and energy. Dear student, we will represent here kinetic energy by T mostly. It's a half mv square, and of course we have already discussed the work done to carry a body from 1 to 2 is equal to change in kinetic energy. So it's a half mv 2 square final and minus this is the initial. So I can write u1 to 2 is equal to T2 minus T1, which is delta T, or I can also write T1, the initial kinetic energy, plus the work done is equal to the final kinetic energy. The advantage of work energy method. One of the big advantages seen, we do not interested to find the accelerations, and it gives you directly the velocity changes as a function of force doing work. It involves only those forces which do work. Other forces are to be, of course, not to be taken, and enables the analysis of the system of particle rigidly connected without isolating individual particles. Here we do not make the free body diagrams and to find the acceleration, the forces and the velocities. So that is the advantage, and we use simple T1 plus U12 is equal to T2 initial kinetic energy plus the work done is equal to the final kinetic energy. This is the main principle that we use to solve the problem using work energy principle or energy method. Next thing is the power and efficiency, which is mostly used. What is power? Power is the rate of doing work, right? So it is rate of doing time, rate of doing work, of course, du by dt, and of course what is work is F dot dr. F dot dr is the work divided by dt, and dr by dt or ds by dt is the velocity, so power is equal to F dot v. The unit of power is basically joule per second, which is also called watt. 1 horsepower is 550 feet pound per second or 33,000 feet pound per minute or 746 watt or 0.746 kilowatt. This horsepower is the unit used mostly, but it is the American system or FPS system. Kilowatt is the SI unit of the power. So work done per unit time is called power. The next thing is the efficiency, the ratio of the work done by a machine to the work done on the machine during the same time interval. So it is output upon input, that is called the efficiency of the machine. And of course, none of the machine in the world has efficiency 100%. There are losses due to friction and other things, and therefore these systems are not reversible. And of course, mostly the efficiency of the electrical machines are high in the 90%. If you go to the efficiency of the mechanical systems, it is mostly for gear systems and shaft, it's about 85%. Pumps, turbines, they have efficiency of 85-87%. But if you go to the thermal power plants, they have more than efficiency, 40 to 45%. And if you go to the efficiency of the IC engines, it more to 30% and about 30 to 35%. And of course, for the diesel engines, of course, they have 35 to 40%. Let's move to the sample problem 3-11. Calculate the velocity v of the 50 gram grade when it reaches the bottom of the tube. The tube at B is the slope. If it is given an initial velocity of 4 meters per second down the tube at A. The coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.3. The mass is 50 kilogram. And here we do not need to have a acceleration or just make a free body diagram, because I need to find the frictional force, so I need the reaction force. This is the weight downward, and this is the cos component and sin component, and friction force in the upward, which is mu k r. Because body is moving, so we have a summation of y is equal to 0, mass is 50 kilogram, mu is equal to 0.3. So if I take a summation of y is equal to r minus w cos of theta is equal to 0, I find the value of r, and eventually I can find the frictional force is 474 Newton is r. So what done? So that is a potential energy or work done. Fs is equal to U122. It is moving downward. Of course, the change in the of course the height. So it is 50 into 9.81 into 10 this distance. Then and of course this sine of 15 degree. The height change from A to B, because this is the potential energy. Minus the work done by the friction, which is basically this distance, because it is moving on the slope. There is a contact along the slope, which is about 10 meters. So it becomes, of course, mu k n to 10. Finally, we get the potential energy is minus 152.5 joule. Now let's give the work energy equation gives. You know that T1 plus U12 is equal to T2, or the U122 delta T change in kinetic energy is T2 minus T1. This is so we know that this is the initial kinetic energy half m v1 square, which is work done is 152.5, is the negative, is equal to half mvt square. Since the work done is negative, therefore there is a decrease in the kinetic energy, and you will see here, because this becomes half mv square. We know value of this. We know value of this. We don't need value. Do not know what the value of the velocity at the point B, but we get 3.15. And if you see, this 3.15 is less than 4, and the kinetic energy is decreasing as your work done is negative, because frictional force is larger. And we find the velocity. So dear student, we find the velocity without finding the acceleration equation. Using the same principle of work energy, that is kinetic energy initial plus final energy. I find the work done. Work done, it move from here to here, from top to bottom. Of course, it is decreasing in the of course the potential energy, and of course work done on the slope, but due to the frictional force. Let's move to the sample problem 3-12. The flatbed truck which carries an 80 kilogram crate starts from rest and attains a speed of 72 km/h in the distance of 75 meter on a level road with constant acceleration. Calculate the work done by the frictional force acting on the crate during this interval. If the static and kinetic coefficient of frictions between the crate and the truck's bed are 0.30 and 0.28 respectively, this is static friction, this is dynamic friction, and the second case 0.25 and 0.20 respectively. This is the coefficient of static and dynamic friction between this crate and the truck. So let's move one by one. Very simple free body diagram of this crate. The weight is downward in the direction, upward, and of course the friction is in this direction. So crate does not slip on the bed, so its acceleration is same as a truck, right? So when coefficient of friction is high, so we know that 2s is equal to v square minus v naught square. We assume that both of them are moving in the same as a unit. So a, we get it simple because we have initial velocity is 0, the final velocity is 72 km/h. We get 2.67 meter per second square. If I take the case A, the acceleration requires a friction force on the block. The friction force, we know that F is equal to ma, that is 80 times 2.67213 newtons. And maximum force is mu s n, which is 0.318 to 9.81, it becomes 235 newtons. This force is less than F, the maximum force. Maximum force to slip means our force which is applied on the crate is 230 newton, and the frictional force is 235 newton. So therefore there is no slip. Our assumption was right. Now the work done is used equal to F into S, so 213, that force we are applying. This is the maximum frictional force between the crate and the truck bed. So therefore it is about 16,000 joule or 16 kilojoule. This is the first case in which there was no slip. Now let's move for mu s is equal to 0.25. In this case, the maximum force, frictional force, is 196.2. And what force we have is 213. It is slightly larger as compared to the maximum friction, and the crate will slip. And the frictional force is governed by the kinetic friction. Now the frictional force is simple 0.20. Of course, this is n 18 to 9.157 newton is the frictional force. So we know that F is equal to ma. In this case, the acceleration will be 157 by 80, and that is 1.962 meter per second square. Dear students, you must take care. This is mu k because now the things are moving. Now we use the coefficient of kinetic friction, and coefficient of kinetic friction is always less than the coefficient of static friction. The distance traveled by the truck and the crate is in proportion to the acceleration of the crate and the truck. It is in proportion because as the truck and crate is moving with 2.67 and this crate is moving with 1.962, I take the ratio 1.96 to 2.67 because the total distance traveled is 75. What the distance traveled by the crate is multiplied by 75 is equal to 55.2 meter. So U is equal to F of S, 1 to 2 is 157. The work done, this is the displacement. So the work done is force times displacement, which is 8660 joule or 8.66 kilojoule is the work done in this case because the crate is moving. Simple problem 3-13, a 50 kilogram block, this one at A is mounted on rollers so that it moves along the fixed horizontal rail with negligible friction under the action of the constant 300 Newton force in the cable. The block is released from rest at A with the spring to which it is attached extended. An initial amount is of course x1 is 0.233 meters and the spring has a stiffness K 80 Newton meter. Calculate the velocity V of the block as it reaches the position B. We are of course, applying the force horizontally at 300 Newton. This block is moving here. We need the velocity of the block at B, but I'm solving this problem using the energy method. So let's see. Of course, this is a force of 300 Newton. Of course, the K is the stiffness is 80 kilonewton. This is outward, of course, the opposite direction, that is 80x. So it is assumed that initially that stiffness of the spring is small, which allow the block to reach the point B. So as blocks move from x1 0.33, so x2 is equal to 0.233 plus 0.1. It's 0.33 plus 1. No, it's 0.233 plus 1.433 meters. The work done by the spring force acting on the block is, you know that it is half k x1 square minus x2 square. So half k, and the k is 80 Newton per meter, and this is x1 square, and this is x2 square minus x1 square. This is, so we get the minus 80. X1 square minus x2 square, so that we have derived earlier, it becomes minus 80 joule is the work done. Minus means we basically the work done against the frictional force, negative work done. The work done on the system by the constant force of 300 Newton in the cable is the force times the net horizontal movement of the cable over the pulley. Now the work done by the system, what means by the 300 Newton force. This work done, we have calculated by change in kinetic energy, right? What the work done by this card. Now, what is the work applied on this by 300 Newton force? That should be a distance traveled. Of course, if you see, this is the total rope, right? When we move from here to here, the length of total rope is 1.2 meters, 1.2 square plus 0.9 square under root. We get this length minus this length when it reaches here, which is 0.9. So we get the distance traveled is 0.6 meters. So simple 300.6, 180 Newton. So initial kinetic energy plus work done is equal to T2. Initially the system is at rest. So of course the work done is minus 180, and the work done by the force is 1 plus 180 is half mv square. And of course this becomes 100, and this becomes 200 divided by 50 is 4, and we get 2 meters per second square. This is the work done. This is the work done because of this, because of the resisting force of the, of course, change in kinetic energy is giving this, because when the block is moving, and this is the work done by this 300 Newton force on the body to move the rope from one point to the other point. So this is next problem is sample problem 3-14. The power which A hosts the 800 pound log up the 30-degree incline at a constant speed of 4 feet per second. If the power output of the winch is 6 horsepower, compute the coefficient of kinetic friction mu k between the log and the incline. If the power is suddenly increased to 8 horsepower, what is the corresponding instantaneous acceleration A of the log? So it is moving at 4 feet per second with the inclined angle 30 degree. We have first of all find out the mu k, and then the power when suddenly increases from 4 to 8, of course, then power increases from 6 horsepower to 8 horsepower, and of course this will create some acceleration. This is moving in the, of course, anti-clockwise direction. So we have a free body diagram, of course. This weight is downward direction. This is cos component, sine component, normal reaction. This is the tension in the rope, which is being applied by the motor. So there is no motion along the vertical direction. We have velocity of initially 4 feet per second. Mu k is to be unknown. N minus w cos of theta is equal to 0. As we know that, vertical motion n, and this is w cos theta. So we get n is equal to mg cos of 30, and we get 693 pounds. Now summation of fx is equal to 0. There is no movement, for example, on the because there is no acceleration, as is moving with constant acceleration. So t minus mu k, constant velocity, therefore acceleration is 0. So t minus mu k n minus 800 sine of 30 is equal to 0. So because this is t, this is the frictional force of the opposite direction, and the weight, and we get the tension, which is basically 693 mu k plus 400. Okay, the power given to you, their power is 6 horsepower. So horsepower converted into foot-pound is 550. 4 divided by velocity, we get 825 pound is the tension. We find the tension from here. So we can put the value of tension here, and we can find the value of mu k now. So I put the value here, and get mu k is equal to 0.613. Now, when the power is increased, the tension momentarily becomes, what will happen to tension, of course, it becomes 8 into 550 divided by 4, it becomes 1100 pounds. So, and the corresponding acceleration, now because it changes suddenly power, so therefore there must be some acceleration. We use the same equation. If you see this one, T minus mu k n minus 800 sine of 30 is equal to ma. So T, this is the, of course, the work done by the frictional force. Mu k is known, 0.6, and then 800 is a weight component, and that is the mass, because the weight is 800 pound, I think so. So that it should be 800 pound, yes. So this should be 800 divided by 32.2a. We get acceleration 11.07 feet per second square, when the power suddenly changed from 8 horsepower to 8 horsepower. So let's move to the next problem, boy. That is sample problem 3-15. A satellite of mass m is put into an elliptical orbit. It's not the complete circular, it's ellipse. It's elliptical orbit with the radius changing, right? Orbit around the Earth. At point A, its distance from the Earth is h1. It is about 500 kilometers. This distance from the surface of the Earth to this point, and it has a velocity v1 is 30,000 kilometers per hour. Determine the velocity v2 of the satellite as it reaches the point B. A distance h2, of course, is 1200 kilometers per hour from the Earth. So the only thing you have the force. This is the force, of course. Here we have R1 and here we have R2. So the only force between these two is the gravitational force. According to Newton's law of gravitation, the G is the mass of the satellite and the mass of the Earth, G m upon r square with the altitude. And we know that the potential energy between work done 1 to 2 is mgr square 1 by r2 minus 1 by r1. That's from previous knowledge. The v1 velocity is 30,000 km per hour, and h2 is 1200 km, and h1 is 500 km. So here the r1 and r2 are together. Work energy principle says T1 plus U12 is equal to T2. I just plug the values. This is half ml square mg r square 1 by r2 minus 1 by r1 is equal to half mv. Mass is cancelled out, and by simplifying V2 square is equal to V1 square plus 2g r square plus 1 by r2 minus 1 by r1. By putting the numerical values given, so it is 30,000 divided by 3.6 to convert into meters per second square, plus 2, this is the acceleration to gravity, this is the radius of the Earth. Now, this one is the R. So 6.4 radius of the Earth plus 1200 kilometers 1.2, of course, it becomes exponent 6 minus 6. So it's 6.4 plus 500 means 0.5, and of course multiply by 10 to the power 6, it becomes, in the numerator becomes 10 to the power 6. I simplify this and I get the velocity V2, which is 7663 meters per second. Or I just multiply the 3.6 to get 27590 kilometer per hour, right? 27,590 kilometer per hour to maintain at the velocity at point B. So, dear students, this completes this topic, and I have solved the sample problems using energy method. My next lecture, inshallah, will be to unsolved problems regarding this topic, and then we move forward. Again, you have a quiz tomorrow, Friday, from the previous lectures, that is 15 and 16, right? 15 and 16, that is the kinetics in the rectilinear motion. I make things easy for you, and hopefully we will meet again in the next lecture. Tomorrow I solve some unsolved problems regarding this topic. Thank you.